Gary Knott, Harlow Foodbank, busier than ever?
Yeah, really busy. I mean, the last financial year we were 37% up on referrals to the year before. So we fed about 5,600 people with emergency food, and a third of those are children. So, about 36% of the people we feed are from low income families, really. So we've seen quite an increase in referrals. Most of our increase in referrals comes from Job Centre. So again, it's to do with universal credits and people having this 5-week wait. As much as the government keep telling us that that hopefully has been resolved, the referral numbers from Harlow Job Centre are just going up and up.
So the whole thing about universal credit, it doesn't look like it's going to get solved anytime soon.
It's a battle, to be honest with you, because the government say one thing, and if you look around the UK, most food banks are seeing a massive increase. I mean, Trussell Trust saw a 19% increase in all of their food banks, whereas ours was 37%. And I think, so it's extremely high. So I think from our point of view, and also people moving from London boroughs, we've found a lot of people coming into us with nothing. They're literally moving into some of these flats in the town centre and around the pinnacles and places with very little. So they're coming in wanting food, and even things like pots and pans, and they've got very little. So I think that hasn't helped us in the sense we do feed everybody. And I think, when you consider Foodbank gives non-perishable food, 3 days worth of non-perishable food, we also have a service called the Bounty Club, which actually picks up surplus fresh food from companies like Bid Food and Breaks and Swithenbank, and we redistribute that back into the community. So about 20 tonnes of that last year went direct to our satellite centres. We also give people fresh food from our Bounty Club service. So basically what that means is when they come into us, they get 3 days worth of nutritionally balanced food, non-perishable, and then we give them about 4 days worth of fresh food. So they get a lovely complement. Nutritionally is much better for them. So they get things like potatoes, eggs, UK salads, all the ranges of salads, and a wide range of other fresh foods, toiletries, and deodorants, things like that. Whatever we've got.
Last time I interviewed, a few years ago now, you were over in Wychelm.
Yeah.
Now you're here on the outskirts of Old Harlow, in Old Harlow and Matching Tyre. Why the move?
Well, I think what we were beg stealing and borrowing. I mean, if you look, when Teresa and I first went to look at food banks, they only had about 11, the Trussell Trust at that time. And what we were finding is that we were delivering food in our cars. We borrowed locations like factory warehouses, which we got for nothing. Lock and Store helped us a great deal in Harlow initially, and we had a church hall when we first set up. And it was all like we had to keep moving food around, didn't have storage space. So I think we were looking for something at 2,500 square feet. And when this came up, we couldn't believe it. We arrived here at Matching Tyre, and when we asked the man about the actual size of the provision, it said 2,500 square feet. Oh, we've got an upper floor. None of the others have. So basically, we looked at it. The cost was good compared to Harlow. So we decided to proceed, and it's been the best thing we've ever done, really.
Volunteers.
Yep.
I guess you couldn't operate without volunteers.
Dear, oh dear, no. I mean, I've just done I just thought I'd do this so that you can see we've actually got 143 volunteers. That's working for Maybury Open Door, which are drop-in centres at St Paul's and Harefield, the Bounty Club, Harlow Foodbank, and our other staff, office staff. So we've got about 143 volunteers that work for us. A high proportion of those are what we call supermarket volunteers. So when we do supermarket collections, there's about 67 people just come in on a one-off and help us at Tesco's over Christmas and any other. We've got an Asda collection coming up soon. They come especially to do that. So about probably 67 of those 143 are one-off. All the rest work permanently, and without them, this service wouldn't operate.
And what is an example of, I think you probably just mentioned it, some things that people do, when they volunteer. There are different ways you can volunteer.
A wide range. I think we've got drivers for the food bank. All of our drivers are volunteers. There's driving the Bounty Club. We've got assistant drivers that are volunteers. Maybury Open Door. We've got teams of volunteers there that help in the kitchen, help set up, talk to clients, which is fantastic. So I think overall in the storehouse here, we've got about 23 volunteers that come in and do all the work here. So if we didn't have volunteers, we would not operate. And this year we're doing a project called the Moving Forward Project, where we've got Liz Bellworthy, who's doing a lot of work going out to organisations that have people with a learning disability, might be clubs or it might be residential homes or support groups, because we're trying to get more people with a disability into the work. Because that's when we started the charity, we brought in, my background is managing residential homes for people with disabilities, and we wanted to give these people a chance to prove what they can do, not what they, not that they need a lot of support and help. So this year we've got a real initiative with the Moving Forward project, and we've already got, I think, around about 7 new volunteers in. 2 of them with the mental health difficulties, and 5 of them with learning disabilities come as part of what we're doing. So for us, that's brilliant. A real mix of people, real mix of skills, working together for the benefit of the community.
Do you ever envisage a day, you may pray that you envisage a day that you won't be here anymore?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, to be honest with you, with government policy and,
And is it hard to stay out of the politics?
It is, because, I mean, Robert Halfon, Robert's been, I mean, much as people find, conservative policy, Robert's been brilliant. I mean, whenever I do anything with Robert, he'll help us, support us. He's got a real heart for community, and I'm very grateful. Laura McAlpine now, she's come on board, and she's the same, got a great heart for community. And so we work with everybody. We don't get into politics, really, but yes, it is frustrating, because when the government is saying one thing and it's proving out the opposite, with certain things like universal credits and the impact on people, that it's worrying. But we just have to serve. That's what we do. We make sure the people of Harlow and the surrounding area can be supported through a crisis. And once they get through that crisis, then we get them back on their feet. And it's lovely to think that people come to us and then you don't see them no more. And I think that for us is why we do the work.